Talo for lava and welcome back to Malaga Podcast. Today I've got the team from Elevated Culture here with us today. I'm just going to get them to introduce themselves and we'll go from there.
Talo for love, everyone. My name is Raymond Savatinaya. 27, Samoan descent. Born in New Zealand and come to Australia in 98, so pretty much an Aussie. But yeah, I've been working in the school space for the past 2 years. I'm working with the community and finding it real rewarding to be working with our Polynesian community. And we've been able to do some cool stuff in the time we've been working at school. So yeah, just keen to come on the All Souls Potty and share what we've been able to get going last year.
Nice.
Hey everyone, my name is Zephaniah Tavito. Same as Ray, working in the school space for 2 years. Samoan as well, 23. And yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you.
Sup everyone, my name is Jean, 18 Akelifiloa. New Zealand born and raised, 26 years old. And yeah, I work with these boys over here at Benner Road. Yeah, sweet.
So for those of you that don't know what Elevated Culture Festival is, I'm not going to try and sit here and explain it because I jumped on board quite later on in the organising of the event, and it was a pleasure to be a part of. It was probably one of the first times I've been involved with something like a culture festival, especially at that level where so many schools and Polynesian businesses were involved, and what it represents and what it means to them. But just before we get into that, we're going to go through what villages we're from. I'm from Sainga in Whaleaka, from my mum's side. That's my mum's dad's village, and my mum's village is Awhenga. My dad's mum's village is Lefanga, Kawhangamangu in Lefanga. So I'll get you guys to go through your villages, and then you can kick us through what Elevated Culture Festival means to you guys.
Yep, my mum's from Alepaka in Lalumangu, and my dad's village is in Si'ufanga in Savai'i.
So my dad's village is Tunai, and my mum's village is Whalefa.
So, my dad is from Tuamua in Upolu, and my mum is from Saleaumua, Alepaka, and Lanamanu in Apia.
You know, Kuamua, that's like our neighbour in Samoa. So Sainga,
Yeah.
the next village up. Like, so when I first went to Samoa, because Sainga's a pretty small village,
Yeah.
but they had volley up in Kuamua, and there's only like a 5-minute walk. But we used to go there all the time when we were kids. Tell us, Elevated Culture.
Yeah, I think working in schools with these guys in our first year, we kind of we were tasked with looking after our Pacifica community at our school. They had over 30% of the population at the school was Polynesian kids, and at that time it was there wasn't really much happening for our students in the community, so they employed myself as a CLO, and lucky enough that I had a team of SLSOs, so Zeph and Jean has been on board as well. We were there pretty much close enough to the same time, and we ran Pacifica classes with our kids, just teaching them the basic songs that we would have learnt growing up. Well, more like Jean, because she's grown up in NZ, and pretty much I've been in Oz, so I think I kind of knew what I didn't get culturally in school, so having Jean come with expertise of knowing other stuff as well, how the school system works in NZ, sharing our culture a lot more openly in schools as part of the curriculum. We thought it was a great way to engage our youth. So after 1 year of having a successful run, we were able to create a real strong bond with our students and the parents within our first year. So moving into the next year, I'll let Jean explain a little bit of what she wanted to do with the event, and then how we kind of unfolded from there.
Oh, sweet. Early last year, me and the boys met up, and I kind of wanted to just take the next step into what we've done with Multicultural Day, seeing as that was a big success in our school. Trying to bring something from growing up in New Zealand, like performing and stuff. I kept thinking about Polyfest. So Polyfest is a annual celebration that we have in New Zealand and Auckland that we hold every year. I was just thinking of ways that we could get our kids more involved and more excited to be at school. And for us, that was performing and putting on stuff for the community. So I wanted to do a little polyfest within our community, putting together something with just me first. I thought just 3 schools, and then from there it became something bigger, and then Elevate became what it was.
What's the main difference between New Zealand schools and I guess Australian schools in terms of how our culture is represented and how much you see it? Because growing up, I used to love those, those videos of 09. It wasn't so much cultural, but all our people were doing it. And what's the main difference that you see between the schools from New Zealand and Australia?
Oh, there's a huge difference, man. Like, especially coming fresh from New Zealand and then jumping into school straight away. There's a lot that I took for granted as a kid growing up, and that was just learning all these different songs about not just Samoan songs. We had Māori songs, we had Tongan songs, Cook Island songs, and that's one thing that I can take away and just learn from my childhood. So that's what I've been bringing into schools as well in our Pacifica classes. So I've just been kind of just recycling all the old songs that I grew up singing and learning in schools, and that's what I've been teaching here as well.
Yeah, nice, because I did all my schooling in Australia. It contrasts with Aussie schools and how they celebrate or represent their Indigenous people. I know one Aboriginal song compared to New Zealanders and how much influence you see Te Reo Māori have in the school system over there. Zeph, talk us through how you came into, the planning or the organising of Elevated Culture Festival. What was your role, and I guess how did you find your feet in the team?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll talk about finding my feet in the role first. So me and Ray started at the same time, pretty much, and we started doing Pacifica classes. So I think that's something for me that was quite challenging because I grew up here in Australia, so my knowledge of culture is I won't say low. I understand the values, the main thing, the core things of our culture, but in terms of language and stuff, I haven't been able to learn it yet. So finding my feet in school was pretty hard. So when Ray and Jean came along, it was good because I had a lot to learn, and just following these guys and having that connection with the kids through culture has showed me a lot. So in terms of the elevated culture, I think my role in that was just bringing up ideas and how to set things up and who to ask through guys like my dad. So my dad knows has a lot of people he knows in places.
Dap him up, bro. Shout him out, bro. Shout him out. Come on.
He's mad. He's cool. So yeah, he's been around in the game in the schooling space for a while. So he has a lot of contacts.
OG.
Yeah. So he got us to a few places that without him, I don't think we could have achieved in elevated culture without him. But yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, I think the good thing about having Zeph and his connections with Albert as well, being his dad, us being young in the schooling space, there isn't really a set criteria of how to actually run what we're running or organize the festival or even anything that we're trying to do. I think having him was such a good sounding board for us. There were so many things that we would ask the pros and cons, because Albert's been in the school game for about 20 odd years from the time we were born. So I think he shared a lot of wisdom with us on how to tread lightly around certain subjects. But for us, I think the main thing we wanted to get across is boosting community engagement and getting our culture out there, because we're in Mount Druitt. There's so many Polynesians out here, but there wasn't anything happening for them. And I think the last festival that had happened was 15 years ago. So that was another festival called We Are One, We Are Pacifica. in the inception of our idea of running Elevated Culture, we sat together and we thought, what's the best way to run this festival? And we've done a bit of research and found out had it happened before, what did it look like, who ran it. So 15 years ago, back I think around 2011, there was a festival, Real One, Real Pacifica. But the way that one ran was Mission Australia, being a charity organisation, had a bucket of funding to support Pacifica communities at that time, and they got together with a few schools and had some few school leaders within a small amount of schools that kind of ran festivals similar. So they organised cultural festivals with performances from a few schools, and they ran for 4 years. We spoke to one of our other counterparts, Sylvia, who's another CLO at St. Mary's, and she was the one that kind of shared how that festival went. She was a big part of organising that committee. And I think we just took what worked and what didn't. For us, we taking all that into account, we thought, how do we make this more sustainable to continue on year on year? So early on in the year, we organised to have build our own parent committee at our school. So we held a parent meet and greet in our first term, and we shared our vision for our Pacifica families and the kids. What the kids wanted most was to perform and sing. Hey, so we were looking at them saying, look, well, we got an idea to do a polyfest at the end of the year. We planned an event for every term of the year to get the parents involved. And from that term one, we had about 20 parents sign up to join our parent committee. And as they were available, they all came to support throughout the year. And we did our own fundraising. So we were lucky enough to have our parent committee organize a Ball Siva with us as well in term 2. And then from that, we had one parent, the lovely Hasna family. Their father's the head chef out at Sahara by the River out at Parramatta. He's an awesome guy, Anthony, and they organised to make all our suppers for us for the fundraiser for our Ball Siva. So they made all that at cost for us, so we were able to support and fundraise for the event. So from that night alone, we in total made about $7,000 from all the fundraising, the dancing, other events we'd done up until that point. And from there, we were able to actually have our own little bucket of funding to start organising bits and pieces for the festival. So once we had those things secured, then it was, I think what we wanted to do was reach out to schools and invite them. So there was about 25 local primary schools we reached out to within the Mount Druitt St. Mary's catchment. We didn't want to go too big because we didn't want it to be bigger than we could control, but we wanted it to at least get influence where we knew there needed to be a Polynesian kind of impact happening. So Mount Druitt and St. Mary's was the key focus area. And from those 25 schools, we had about 8 primary schools sign up and 5 selected high schools that we chose to work with. So it was quite strategic with how we wanted to do it. We wanted to focus on primary school because we know once we get the primary schools all on the same page, they all get the same kind of cultural experience. By the time they filter into high schools, they'll have that same love for culture, and then we can see change happen over the years. But we just want to make our little wave, little impact of the way we wanted to do it and keep it controlled. And that's the birthing of the Elevated Culture, and it all kind of snowballed from there. But pretty cool.
Nice. So there was a need in the community, I guess, in the schools. Kids wanted to sing, kids wanted to dance. I guess the results. How do you see the connection between bringing a cultural festival to Western Sydney? How do you see that? I guess that festival bridging the gap of students learning more about their culture. How did you connect more with your Samoan culture through the festival?
For me personally, the way I felt that it connected me more to my culture was just growing up and thinking about, thinking about this whole festival, the whole process and things of it. When we grew up with my grandma, and I know like most Islanders and Polynesians did grow up with their grandparents around. So for me, I had my grandma around, and when we were younger, she'd always teach us about culture and the value of our culture and the value of our Samoan heritage, especially where we come from and the roots that they've come from. So, hearing those ancient Samoan songs and then hearing other schools do it, it just makes it more special, the way that how my grandma used to teach us those songs. And then, for me, it was just, I don't know the word. I don't know. It's just, just
those bangers.
Zeph?
I think for me, just seeing how a festival brought kids from different schools together, and I think that's what culture does. It brings people together, and just seeing that had a big impact on me, especially for how hard we were working to get the festival done. That's what impacted me the most, was seeing all those kids from all different schools come together, and from all different cultures too, come together. So yeah.
I think when we talk to a lot of our parents and seeing that before the festival, we had a successful year in engaging our students and teaching them the same songs and dances, and continuing to, build them up and teach them other songs each year on year, and then having the festival. The parents were really excited to hear their kids come home and sing songs that they heard when they were kids too. A lot of our families come from New Zealand or come from Samoa, and to hear them sing cultural songs, we had so many compliments from our parents. So we could have only imagined how that would have connected other schools from, other parents and other communities. So we really wanted to have that sense of community for all our Polynesian kids, and Indigenous kids as well. It wasn't just for our polys, but for all of our community to have that conversation about, oh, do you remember this song, Mum and Dad? And I think that happened because we put that on, and seeing as well the schools look differently at some of our parents and in our community, because once they were invited to this festival, the feedback from all the schools was that parents were at their beck and call and so supportive of this event, and parents donated their time before and after school to teach the songs and dances, to make the uniforms, to be a part of any kind of fundraising throughout the school to support. And I think that's what I really appreciated about our culture, is that we come together regardless of whatever's going on, how busy we are, if we have a lot of money or a little bit of money, anything for culture, our families come through. And I think that really showed come time for the festival. And for me personally, I think, like I said, I was raised in Australia, so my parents always were, my older siblings always fluent in Samoan, but because we were running the event, I think I had to ask my dad, it's probably suitable if I actually did a launga or something just to start. So I ended up asking my dad to write me a launga and teach me what it was, and I was a bit last minute with my practicing, but I think that was a good point for me to, I don't think I've had that conversation with my dad before, to ask him, so hey, can you teach me a launga in Samoan? So that was a good, somewhere to put me out of my comfort zone to try and speak the native tongue in front of more fluent speakers than myself. But I think at the end of the day, when I know we're not teaching these kids the full language in one go, I think just bringing that conversation and letting them have a taste of culture and find that connectedness within each other, within other schools and other communities, was the main thing that we wanted to happen. I think we did a good job at letting these kids see each other, because they're going to see each other when they go to high school. They'll see each other crossing at the, when they're out in the shops and stuff. And I'm really happy that, at least these kids might bump into each other and say, hey, I remember you guys from the festival, and might spark up a conversation about, what they're up to and their cultures and how their families are going. So, yeah, that's our connection to our culture there.
That's cool. I haven't actually said anything to Ray about this before, but I remember leading up to the festival, I work at one of the schools that these guys approached towards, I don't know, just after halfway between when they started and when the festival actually came to life. But I was at that school, and I jumped on board and tried to do what I could do from our end to get this festival on board. And it was pretty much just leading our students in our performances and our songs. But I remember a few days before the festival, I called Ray and I said, hey man, are you doing a launga, or do you have anyone doing a launga? And he said, yeah, actually I'm doing one. But I had started practicing one to do as well. And I didn't bring this up after the festival because it didn't really matter. But I think a lesson I took from that was whāloalo, because Ray is older than me. Nah. Because Ray was, the main dude behind the festival. My whāloalo, or my Samoa, tells me that I should give him that right, that he deserves to open up the day with that launga. And so I didn't say no, even though I practiced this launga for a while, and I was like, yeah man, I'm keen. It's cool, because I think it's a teaching point for me too, not just for people listening or people watching. That's the different ways that our Fat Samoa comes across. As soon as he said, yeah, I got one lined up, I was like, yeah, sweet, like that's you, man. And then so I left mine for when it was our school's performance, and I was like, oh, I'll just, because I practice it, I'll just do mine then, and you can open up the day the way you plan to open up the day. And I thought it was, I don't know, like a fa'aloalo thing. It was like what's the translation of fa'aloalo? The respect thing. Talking about like the challenges that you came up against putting this together, because I'm sure there's not just one or two small challenges in putting a festival like this together. What were some of the biggest challenges, and what were some of the challenges that surprised you, stringing all of this together?
I think at first was trying to even get the festival. I think in our first year, if we could have done it, I know we would have. We had to prove ourselves. So it took time. We were very patient with how we could come across with our grand ideas, because I think from day dot, we were sharing things that we wanted to do, and the school's like, well, that's a lot you want to do, and you guys have only been here a little bit, so just see how you go, start small. And I think it was good. It's very humbling too, because obviously in a respectful professional environment, to have 3 young polys try and lead something as big as that, it's not been seen or as well, like, done or led by staff members, something as big as this. So I think we done a good job with working together as a team, and we're such a cohesive team where we knew each other's strengths and we played to it, and we mapped out the year well enough that the school looked at us and like, hey, these guys got a lot of structure behind it. Every single thing we've done for Pacifica has been done just by the 3 of us. And I think for when we organized for the events that we had, like the Porsiva, and having the Elevator Culture Festival, for us, that's how we do things as Samoans. I think that's something culturally that we do, is we don't delegate things. We like to do the work ourselves. Like, it's very hard to say, oh, we want to give someone a part of it to you look after it, because at that time when we started, it wasn't done before. So I'm really grateful that we had a strong team to not only just speak up and, share our vision for what we wanted, but to actually pull through. Because to say that in the beginning of the year and then to pull it off, 12 months later, no one was checking on us to say, hey, how's that going? Did you guys organize what you had? Did you guys meet up with these people? No one was on our back. It was all on our own accord. And I think having a strong team, and I think we said it to ourselves and said, as long as I believe in you and you guys believe in me and we back each other, like, we know the only thing that's going to be, people that benefit from this is going to be our community and our kids. And the schooling system will be a different experience. Like we grew up in Australia where there wasn't any connection to culture. I didn't learn anything about my culture other than what I learned at our meetings in church and through family stuff. So having to convince executive members that this was a good idea, to convince and kind of, I think we're good at creating the idea and then making the steps. We kind of have to work on that afterwards, because we did that a lot. We said, here's what we want to do. How are you going to get there? We'll work that out, but we're going to get there. And then I think once they gave us the green light in term 1, we just went about it by talking to the right people, growing the vision of what it looked like. And I think having a solid team who just constantly checks in on each other and actually shares the same vision, but we'll have different parts to play in it. It was, really key in overcoming a lot of the challenges, because there's a lot of people that was turning us away, and even organizing venues and things like that, like without having a really big budget to start off with to organize the things we had, timelines of confirming dates, locations. We changed like maybe 2-3 times up until the last term because of how hard it was to actually secure venues and actually pay deposits for things. So we were lucky enough to make a lot of partnerships, like with our special Minchipuri Jets. They were awesome for us in the beginning towards the middle of it when we were looking for a venue. They offered up, and also a big shout out to Pimdan, Mahadal. She's been...
Yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah, man. They were awesome for us. So I think I think we didn't shout them out enough. Pimdan was the one that kind of... My role in school, I go to these meetings where Pimdan is a Pacific Island Mount Druitt Action Network, where they actually... It's a wide range of all different Pacific organizations, from lawyers, teachers, people who work in New South Wales Health, NDIS providers. We all come and speak on different topics, all relating to Pacifica communities. And New South Wales Police was one of the main reasons why we wanted to put this festival on. When we discussed in Pimdan what were the main issues that the police saw with the Polynesian community, it was that our Polynesian youth are being recruited for gang involvement while they're in high school and things like that, mainly because they're young, they're strong, they're intimidating. if they want to be. But the most of them, they're all as gentle as we are. We look tough, or not really that tough, mate. But we're like, but I could see that happening. I think the stigma around Mount Druitt was something that we didn't like too much. And working with the youth that we had, it was like, those aren't the kids that I work with. That I know the homes they come from, but the way that things look on the outside sometimes, if you're not from here, you think a certain way of our community. But yeah, I think from there we kind of saw, I think I attended these meetings. I also invited Martin to those as well to come and join us. And yeah, I thought working in the schooling space and working in the primary school space, we were able to share that I'm not seeing that in the schools anymore. In the past 2 years, there hasn't been any involvement from my kids in my small community about what we're hearing on the news and what the police are talking about. So I said, well, if we can get the primary schools on the same page, if we can get them all the same experience, by the time they get into high school, they'll filter out. Like, we'll give them a new culture, new expectations, new standards of what it is. And I think that's what we intended to do, was create a platform for our kids to look forward to and to actually utilize school as a place to engage and feel like a sense of belonging. Because I know a lot of kids don't feel like that. And I didn't feel like that going to school. I just felt like, I'm just going just because I have to do it. But if I had people like us at school, I would have loved to go to school just to hang out and see, like, see myself as I could work in schools one day, or I could be, any other job than, the standard blue collar work that they see us in. So I'm really glad, because we're three young, passionate Polynesians who saw a vision and we actually executed on it. And I think our kids in particular, were like, we told them from term one, we're going to do this big festival. You guys wait till it comes. You're going to see all these other kids. And then on the day, like, these kids were buzzing from the start of the day and for the rest of the year. Like, they couldn't stop talking about it. Everyone was so excited, and most of those kids, when they were sharing their highlights, they just loved to see that there was other kids that were just like them in other schools, and that they look like them. And we got to share a little clip of one of our boys who's saying, like, he felt like he was somebody in the community, and to us, I think that was like our job done. I think that's what we really could have done. We couldn't have done any more than that. If we did, cheese on top. But for us, I was really proud that we're able to give these kids that sense of belonging, where they probably haven't had that, for a little bit, or ever in their school life, because we just come out of COVID. But any other challenges we had?
What's Elevated Culture Festival look like in 2024? I'll let you guys start. What's the vision? Are we going bigger and better? We're gonna just kick it back a bit. What's the vision?
What's the vision?
Bigger and better. I think we're talking about 2 festivals next year. Oh, not next year. This year, 2024. Bigger and better. What's it called? I think we have a few more ideas. Just as Elevated Culture as a group, I think we're trying to make a charity so we can go into schools and try some new things for us as well. Kind of doing what we're doing already in schools, but just that offering it to different schools.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I think we were lucky enough that after pulling off the first festival and we had to pull out all the stops to actually get it up and running, we didn't really have much support up until the last minute when we started having sponsors reach out to us. That wasn't something that we were actually looking out to getting. We were just looking at putting it on at a bare minimum cost just to get it happening.
Yeah.
And we had lucky enough to have Western Sydney Airport jump on, and they reached out and they said, we love the idea, we love what you're trying to do for the community. And because they jumped on, we thought we'd put our cards out there to a few other organizations, and we were lucky enough for our major sponsor being Wesley Mission. They were awesome, and they came on board, and they were very awesome for all our Indigenous stuff. They gave us a lot of insight. Us being the Polynesians trying to organize it, but include both cultures, was a challenging task too.
So maybe give us a shout out for all the sponsors, the businesses that got behind the festival. Give them a shout out, man.
Now we want to give a big shout out to Pim Dan, the team with Maharao and Dora and the team out there. They were the ones that pretty much gave us the start. They were the ones that put their insurance on the line to support the event and help us get it started. So without them, the event really couldn't have happened. So we just want to say they were one of the major parts, and we're really grateful for the support throughout the whole event. Our next major sponsor would have been Minchinbury Jets. So they were kind enough to support us with their venue. together with Blacktown Council, they were working wonders for us to make a lot of things happen, to utilize both fields on the day. And yeah, for us to utilize such a big field and to have such a facility like Minchinbury Jets, like that was awesome for us. They had the change rooms, perfect for what we were trying to achieve on the day. Our next major sponsors was Wesley Mission, Western Sydney Airport, DCJ, FTA, and Trex. They were all key parts in supporting us and giving back to the community and each student that performed. So with all the support we were able to have on the day, we thought what better way to give back to the community than to actually create unique T-shirts for the kids that showcases their schools. For us, that was a way for us to get the kids, to take a bit of pride in their school, to see their schools on a stage and that they participated. And because of these kids' involvement, that's why the day happened. So yeah, with all the support from all our sponsors, we're in the works with Trex to support our designing of a T-shirt and delivering it all to all our students who performed on the day. So we had over 400 students perform, so that's 400 shirts to be delivered.
Thank you. Maybe shout out some of the schools, well, maybe all of the schools that were involved in Elevated Culture Festival, because I know it wasn't a small feat, getting around to all the schools and pitching the idea. Anyways, shout out if you want to give the schools that were involved in Elevated Culture Festival a bit of a shout out. Yep. All the schools that were involved. Thanks, Zeph.
Yeah, just want to give a shout out to all the schools that came out. I think without the students, the day wouldn't have been possible. So,
and also shout out to all the CLOs out there that came through as well. Right, shout out to Banner Road Public School.
Let's go.
Next school we want to shout out St. Mary's North, James Erskine Public School, Plumpton Public School, Emerton Public School, St. Mary's Public School, Blackett Public School, Mount Druitt Public School, Ropes Crossing Public School, Chiefly Dunhavard, Chiefly Shelby, St. Clair High School, and Erskine Park High School. Let's go.
Yo, I'm going to edit it and put James Erskine Public School. Hey, I just want to thank Ray and the team, Zeph and Jean, for coming out today on the podcast. I appreciate your time. And it's just been good to rub shoulders together, man. It was pretty cool to be involved, Thank you for rubbing my shoulder. It's been cool to get to know you guys and, do life and do the schooling thing together. I think one of the biggest takeaways for me this year with Elevated Culture Festival was you bringing all the CLOs together. I'm the CLO over at James Erskine Public School. Just want to thank you guys for coming out, man. I appreciate your time. Appreciate yeah, sweet. Thanks, Zeph. Thanks, Jean. It's been a pleasure. Malaga Podcast. Let's go.
Malangas.